So there was a different social contract then that people were rebelling against. They sought change.
100%.
Yeah, and nowadays there's a core in the nation that seems to be unhappy with what they perceived as an actual change in that social contract. They want to go back, and we had this recent insurrection on January 6th that was a sort of postmodern representation of that. Do you think the social contract has actually changed, or do you think we still have work to do?
Look, I mean, we're always going to, by the way, I think the social contract is a journey, not a destination. So we're always going to, it's going to evolve. I mean, I often tell people that I find it almost comical that very smart people say that the Constitution should be interpreted as our founding fathers interpreted. I mean, that would mean that we would still be riding a buggy with a horse pulling it, right? I mean, so there is an evolution, and I believe that, the social compact evolves with contextually where we are today, as it did in the 90s. I think that the one thing that I'd like to bring out is that while there's no question that there's a segment of our community that feels that government's not working for them in a certain way, and you have January the 6th, there's another segment of the community that thinks that government's not working for the same things that the people in January 6th would want to go back to, right? It's not an absolute answer to the problem, and that's why I often say that so much of this is not Republican or Democrat. It's about bringing our humanity to place. But when you look at election results, right, which I think they're very telling, and I'm going to go through the most recent one, and this is in Chicago, right? You had clear choices. You had two people running for mayor. You had a man that was running for mayor on enlarging the size of the police department and sort of going back to the past. And you had another man that came up and said, I believe that yes, we have safety problems. Yes, I don't know all the answers, but I think that we need to try a different path, right? And thankfully, from my point of view, Mr. Johnson won this race, right? And it speaks to me about how often people think that scaremongering and fear-mongering and scaring people to death is going to be the path for electoral success. But over and over, we've seen that in LA, and we've seen in other parts of the country where people, yes, we're scary, yes, we're worried, but we don't want to go back to the things that didn't work before. We're a little unsure about what the future looks like, but it should not be going back to the past. And I think, and I know this sounds a little corny, but that old definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I think I think our public is sophisticated enough to see that.
Systems have to change over time.